There is nothing wrong with your radio.
Do not attempt to adjust the volume.
We are controlling the broadcast.
For the next hour we will control all that you hear.
You are about to experience the knowledge and insights of the Media Mothership.
All right, you're listening to Media Mothership here on Edge Radio 99.3 FM. I'm your host, Craig, joined today by co-host Taylor and special guest Marcus.
Welcome.
How's everyone's volumes of headphones? I think we've got to keep it loud because today's topic is WWE and the upcoming Royal Rumble.
My volume's pretty good. I can hear everyone just fine.
Great. I did turn you up because I want you in some form of discomfort.
Shouldn't we have done this before?
I like keeping it live because there's a lot happening right now in WWE. Before we get there, though, of course, we're streaming live on YouTube and Twitch. My camera's gone again.
Well, we're not streaming
We
live.
are streaming. It's just people are seeing a still image.
No, we're just very still.
Yeah.
Very quiet.
Anyway, so if you want, you can jump onto the chat on YouTube or Twitch. Send us a message there. We'll try to keep it in our peripheral vision. Or SMS direct into the studio live 0488881107. There's a lot happening, as I said, in WWE right now. A lot of creative changes. Surprise returns are being rumored. The Royal Rumble shaping up possibly to be up there with some really, unpredictability this year, I think, is the vibe, right? Unpredictable. We were just chatting off air about the location, some other things. So let's start. We've got Marcus in, of course. WWE
Resident Brainbox.
Brainbox, strong opinions, close followers. We'll get the messages lighting up on our board with all of our underlings looking at the tweets coming through. What's the biggest? Okay, Marcus, what's the biggest WWE story right now that's happening in your opinion leading up to the Royal Rumble?
The biggest story, in my opinion, is whether or not AJ Styles will be retired at the Rumble on Sunday. So AJ Styles has been with WWE for 10 years now, almost 10 years exactly, because he debuted at the Royal Rumble in 2016. Before that, he had a very storied career in Impact Wrestling and in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Really?
Yeah.
Japan?
Yeah, he was huge in Japan.
Japan's, Hulk Hogan would tell the stories of it being a really physical environment to learn wrestling in back in the day. Is that still the case in Japan? Is it considered a really physical wrestling environment? You come out with some bumps and bruises?
Very hard-hitting style,
Yeah.
the Japanese style. AJ actually had a match on Saturday night's main event last weekend in a lead-up to his match this coming weekend against his old rival Shinsuke Nakamura, who he fought in New Japan and then he fought in WWE when they both moved over. And their match at Wrestle Kingdom 10 in the Tokyo Dome is considered one of both of their greatest matches ever. And their matches in WWE were considered fine, but people were saying that even though AJ is close to the end of his prime and Shinsuke is well past it, people were talking about how they wound the clock back last weekend and had an extremely physical and hard-hitting fight, and they just beat the tar out of each other.
How old is Styles? Because you kind of have to age out.
Yeah.
Gracefully, if you can.
He's 48 years old.
48?
I've got a picture of him. Yeah, he's got a
have a
beard,
look.
moustache. He's got really Pantene hair.
Yes, his hair is luscious.
Yes! Well groomed.
Because he's said that he does not want to be wrestling at 50, because although he can still go and he can still perform to a higher level, he said that the amount of warm up and warm down and rehab and maintenance that it takes at his age is quite taxing. He doesn't ever want to see a decline in his abilities. So he wants to go out before 50 to ensure that he's still, that people don't remember him and his skills degrading.
Of course, the big retirement was Cena's, right? How does the timing play out there? You'd be thinking about that, right?
Very
you want to give it a
deliberately.
bit of oxygen. Yep.
Very deliberately, because the guy who defeated Cena in his last match, Gunther, also defeated Goldberg in his last match in 2025, and he is AJ's opponent at the Royal Rumble. And Gunther, basically, because he's a dirty heel, cheated to win a match against AJ on Raw a couple of weeks ago. And he said, and AJ came out the following week, he goes, I want to have a rematch against you. And Gunther goes, well, if you want to have a rematch against me, AJ, you have to wager your career. So literally, AJ's career is on the line. If he loses against Gunther, he needs to retire. And because AJ has said he wants to retire in real life, a lot of people, it's 50-50. It's like, I mean, like, people have suggested, because the quality of the matches and the quality of the opponents and stories he's had over the last couple of years has been really high. And people have been saying, well, maybe he's been having a retirement tour the entire time. We just didn't realize it. So,
because I was going to ask about that. How do you think the balance is right now at WWE with that kind of long-term storytelling structure and the kind of random shock moments that are occurring? Is the balance there?
The balance, I think, is there. What they've done very cleverly, they've got the US title on SmackDown, which has an open challenge each week. So there's no ongoing stories with the US belt. It's just whoever's the champion fights a random opponent each week, and it's usually a surprise, so that there's the big cheer. Yeah, and they've actually had people from Impact Wrestling challenge as well. So because there's a bit of well, it's called TNA, but it feels weird saying TNA out loud. There's a lot of transfer.
Because TNA, I mean, it's not.
It doesn't stand for
It doesn't stand for that.
It stands for total nonstop action, but the acronym was chosen because it sounded like the other thing.
Ho ho, locker room humor.
What other thing? TNT.
I'm not. We've got we're a 4 p.m. school pickup time slot. Oh, we'll be next week when school goes back.
It rhymes with Fitz and glass.
Okay, yeah, SMS in.
We'll tell you when you're older.
Good audience engagement question there.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
How about booking, right? We were talking a little bit about controversies with bookings at the moment. Anyone getting some good bookings, do you think? Like, is there someone that's been booked better than expected recently? And I guess for our listeners, what does booking mean in the WWE parlance or wrestling parlance?
In wrestling parlance, booking means how performers are scripted to look, whether they win or lose, where they go on the card, who they are scheduled against, and how much offense versus defense they get in. So a well-booked wrestler would win the majority of their matches cleanly, or a well-booked good guy, a well-booked babyface would win the majority of their matches cleanly. They'd always get some offense in. They wouldn't win too decisively too often, because if they're too invincible, people will turn on them. As happened with Cena in the late 2000s to the mid 2010s. Unless it's someone like Goldberg, whose entire thing is walks in, does a 2-minute squash match, then walks out, and that's it. That's okay. If they're short matches, they're allowed to be dominant. And whereas a good heel would have booking where they're going up against strong, unlikable baby faces to make them look even more dislikable by comparison. Good heel booking will involve lots of cheating, lots of interference. And just basically, there's a brilliant story from Scott Steiner, who was an Olympic level athlete and did some incredible acrobatics during as a babyface as part of a tag team with his brother Rick in the early to mid 90s. And when he turned heel in the late 90s, he went, all that flippy stuff I used to do, I'm not doing any of that anymore. I do not want anyone to cheer for me, so I'm going to deliberately avoid stuff that people like. So good heels should be booked to look as dastardly as possible. So if we're talking about how people are going with booking at the moment, one of them who we could talk about is the current world heavyweight champion, CM Punk. There's some discussion over whether he should have the belt because he is 47 and he's not the performer he used to be. Sometimes he can be a bit sloppy. He did a pile driver on a guy in his 20s a couple of weeks ago that looked terrifying.
Oh my.
It did not look safe.
There are moves that they've moved out of their legal moves.
Yeah.
Like the Undertaker's. Who also was the pole driver or the?
Yeah, pile drivers have been essential. Sit-out pile drivers, especially the tombstone pile driver that Undertaker does, he lands on his knees,
Right.
Which is more safe than a sit-out pile driver where you land on your bum. A sit-out pile driver is how Owen Hart damaged Steve Austin's neck back in '97. So generally speaking, the pile driver is only allowed to be used in very, 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 very rare circumstances. For many years, only Undertaker and his kayfabe half-brother Kane were allowed to do it.
CM
Punk has occasionally done sit-out pile drivers. I don't know if he gets in trouble for them backstage. But generally speaking, people have basically said that his matches go too long and it looks like he's out of breath 10 minutes in. So
retirement around the corner, do you think?
He actually got asked a question. He was doing it, I think it was like the GQ Ask the Internet thing, and he said, one of the questions was, when is CM Punk going to retire? And he looked at the camera and goes, when I feel like it. So he's not going anywhere. But generally, I think people are thinking that, and they're really talking about him on commentary. Oh, he does a lot of cardio. He can do long matches. And I think people are sort of the opinion that he should probably shave about 5 to 10 minutes off of his matches.
So do you think that's creative, or do you think...
I think it's a little bit of creative and a little bit of Punk having some say over how his matches go.
Because I guess at the other extreme, is there anyone that's kind of being cooled off at the moment? Anyone that's kind of intentionally or not being kind of a little sidelined?
LA Knight is 110% being sidelined and cooled off because WWE Unreal came out quite recently, the second season of Unreal, that Netflix documentary where they show you what it's like behind the scenes.
Right.
And there is an extended sequence of Triple H, the chief creative officer, just blasting LA Knight backstage at Money in the Bank last year.
Really?
Where LA Knight, he didn't even mess up a spot. He just missed a cue to go and do something. It didn't hurt the match. No one watching at home would have known that he'd missed his cue because it was a 6-person ladder match. And there's just this extended sequence of Triple H grilling him while he looks like he's about to burst into tears. And LA Knight is someone who people have gotten behind very organically. They think he's exceptional on the mic. They like his catchphrase. They shout his catchphrases at him. He is exceptionally over. And WWE just has not pulled the trigger and made him. They haven't given him even a week-long run with the World Heavyweight belt.
So what do you reckon's going on? I mean, in terms of, I guess, where WWE's now, where it's going to in the near future, we've got Royal Rumble around the corner. Is it playing it safe right now, or do you think it's taking enough risks to keep it interesting?
It's taking risks in some ways, and it's keeping things safe in other ways. So they've recently changed the Undisputed belt. So just to clarify, so there's two main belts. The World Heavyweight Championship is on Raw. The Undisputed belt is on SmackDown. They're the two shows. Raw airs on Mondays, and SmackDown airs on Fridays. And they've recently changed the Undisputed belt in a 3 stages of Hell match on SmackDown, and it's very rare for the Undisputed belt to change hands on TV.
Yeah.
I don't think it's changed hands on TV in at least, it'd be pre-pandemic. Would have been the last time it changed hands on TV, I think. I can see Taylor Googling it right now.
Fact check that, please.
Fact check it. So they took it off Cody Rhodes, who's been their sort of main guy for about 3 years now, and they put it on Drew McIntyre, the Scottish warrior. People were very worried about Drew because Drew lost the first 3 matches. Oh, sorry. He had a series with Cody. He lost 2 matches and won the third by disqualification. And people are saying if Drew doesn't get the belt soon, he's actually going to lose a lot of value. But he won the belt on SmackDown and then got to walk into England as a hometown hero with everyone chanting, "Oh, Drew McIntyre!" in the audience. And then because Drew McIntyre refuses to break character, he just cut a massive heel promo saying, "I'd like to thank the one person who's always been there for me, and that's myself. I always believed in me."
Well, I was going to ask, do you reckon there's anyone that's shaping up? I mean, obviously we're talking about Styles maybe retiring. Is there anyone that's maybe getting positioned for a huge 2026 push, to really launch?
Okay, so there's one guy who's not going to go to the top of the card, but he's recently gotten a new theme song, which everyone loves his new theme.
Really?
Kit Wilson, who was part of a a tag team called Pretty Deadly with another British bloke called Elton Prince. And the entire joke was, lol, these guys are a bit gay. Because WWE has exceptionally tasteful storytelling at all times.
Yeah.
But Elton Prince, sorry, very sadly has done his neck and he's out with spinal fusion surgery. And they've gone, all right, so what are we going to do with Kit? And so they've basically completely repackaged Kit as... Look, there's no polite way to say this. As a social justice warrior who goes around screaming at all the men in the locker room for their toxic masculinity.
Really?
And saying that he's going to redefine masculinity himself. And he's got this incredibly catchy new theme song. And so there's this bit on SmackDown a couple weeks ago that was just, it had me in stitches. There was a qualifying match between Trick Williams and Matt Cardona, two like testosterone fueled jocks who just had a pretty decent TV match. The match is over. Kit's theme song hits. He minces in. He poses. He does his fruity little dance. He stops at halfway down the runway, looks up and down a Trek and calls him toxic twice. Keeps on doing his fruity dance down the entryway. Sees Cardona, walks past him, then sprints back, clobbers him over the back, throws him into the steps, screams at him, and he's toxic, toxic, toxic. There's a pause, and then his music starts up again, and he keeps on doing his fruity dance. And I was in stitches.
So would you say this it sounds like parody?
It's very, very, very hard to tell what the authorial intent is, because I feel like making fun of people who call out toxic masculinity in 2026 in a post-Andrew Tate world is really dangerous. I mean, this could have been funnier 7 or 8, like before Me Too, but WWE is always behind the times. I mean, there's that famous story of Metallica offering to play at a WrestleMania in the mid 2000s, and Vince McMahon said, "I've never heard of you." I don't want a no-name band playing at my event.
What a miss! So is it performing as a babyface or a heel, or kind of liminal in between?
He's definitely a heel because he's antagonizing. He's mostly antagonizing babyfaces, but because the guy who plays him, I think his name is Sam Stoker, is just ridiculously charismatic. Basically, like, imagine a really jacked Harry Styles.
Oh my!
Essentially. And the theme song is such a vibe that people would, like, they'll show people in the audience dancing and singing to his theme song. And
wow. Well, we should definitely do a music show where we're doing theme songs from wrestling, like wrestlers' theme songs. It'd be fascinating.
Yeah.
Watch Mojo actually did a top 20 wrestling theme songs of all time video recently, and it was absolutely terrible.
In a good way, right? But so bad it's good? No.
It was just bad. It was like,
we've got to correct the record.
They basically just looked at who they perceived to be the 20 most popular wrestlers, and they put all of them in basically sequence.
So it was just clickbait.
It was clickbait. Yeah, Cena was on there. But there was no Miz, no Dolph Ziggler, no Becky Lynch, like the stuff that people sing along with, no Asuka. My days. If Asuka's like, I've heard people compare wrestling to drag. I'm not sure how much I agree with that, but Asuka would just work as a drag queen and no one would like raise an eyebrow. And her theme song is very fitting in with that aesthetic.
It'll be because the themes kind of straddle various genres. Like, you got a bit of some with the country and western vibe, some rap vibe.
My favourite theme is The Undertaker's theme.
Oh yeah, the funeral march?
No, just the dong.
He's had a few theme songs. They all have the gong in them, but like I think his most famous one is literally just a funeral march.
Okay. Right.
And then there's Macho Man Randy Savage, who used "Pomp and Circumstance," also known as the graduation song. And I just remember at the end of year assembly last year when the band was playing "Pomp and Circumstance," and I was like, "Ooh yeah, dig it!" Are we going to see the principal perform a flying elbow drop into the audience? Snap into a Slim Jim.
So we'll have to set that aside. I think that we'll do a music show. All right, so Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble's around the corner. How are we feeling about this year's Royal Rumble?
So for anyone who doesn't know what the Royal Rumble is, because wrestling is very insular, essentially it's the very first major premium live event of the year. It's in its, I believe, 37th year. It started in 88. 38th year. And it's a 30-man battle royale. Well, there's a men's rumble and a women's rumble. So there are 2 rumbles in the same night. It's a 30-person battle royale, rather. Well, a 30-man or a 30-woman battle royale. Anyway, every 2 minutes, it starts out with 2 people in the ring. Every 2 minutes, someone else comes in, and you can only be eliminated by being thrown over the top rope. Pinfalls and submissions, count-outs and disqualifications don't count. So you can actually legally leave the ring underneath the top rope and come back later. But if you go, and they have a rule that I love, which is you have both feet have to hit the floor.
Right.
So we've had people in previous years, they get thrown over the top rope, land on the announcer's desk, get on their hands, and full on hand walk back to the ring.
No way.
And they are legally still in the Rumble.
Because I was going to ask, I did do a search of Royal Rumble specific jargon that maybe you could help us break down as we're defining what Royal Rumble is. So one you've mentioned is the over the top rope jargon piece. So So in the context of Royal Rumble, again, just to remind us, what's over the top rope?
So a WWE ring, a wrestling ring has usually I think it's 3 ropes, just like a boxing ring. The very top rope, if you go over that and both feet land on the floor, that's that means you're eliminated. But you can, if you want to do be like an actual boxer who passes between the ropes, you can go between the ropes, leave, and come back.
Oh, right, because you haven't gone over the top rope.
Yes.
Yeah.
And sometimes people have been thrown through the ropes and they've been legally allowed to return because it wasn't over the top rope.
Yep. Rumble spots.
The number that you enter.
Yeah, right. And that really matters, right? I mean, if you're coming in at Rumble Spot 1, you've got a lot of time you've got to survive for.
Yes.
Right?
So in kayfabe, entering at number 1 is a huge disadvantage, and entering at number 30 is a huge advantage. But obviously it's all predetermined. So any advantage or disadvantage is very much for the sake of creating drama within the story. And they've made it a thing recently where guys who start out will, generally speaking, people in the first 3 spots will stay in the Rumble for a very long time because they're all about breaking records. So what they want to do is they want to go, oh, this person has now been in the Rumble for longer than anyone else ever has before. They broke the record twice in one night for the Women's Rumble last year. I think it was. I could be wrong. I believe it was Roxanne Perez set the record for the longest time spent in a Rumble, and then 10 minutes later, Bayley broke it.
So yeah, part of the magic of the Rumble spot is indexed into those that knowledge base of like the time duration, right?
Yep.
So some fans will be sitting there thinking, okay, we're now, like 10 minutes in, they're still there.
Yep.
And the announcer starts building up. Any other narratives around the Rumble spots? Like,
It's been used. They've used Rumble spots a few times. One of the famous examples is the 1992 Rumble, where Ric Flair, he was the guy in the National Wrestling Alliance in the 1980s, and it was his first. He only just come across the WWF. He was only there for a couple of years in the early 90s, and he entered at number 3, and he was basically the protagonist of the Rumble, because. Usually, what the Rumble has been used for ever since 1993 is that if you win the Royal Rumble, you are guaranteed a title shot at WrestleMania.
and that's the next big event after the Rumble, is it? Or...
They have because there are 2 main belts for the men and for the women. The Royal Rumble winner gets first pick, and then they have the Elimination Chamber in February, and whoever wins the Elimination Chamber gets the second world title shot.
So the Rumble provides that bridge into WrestleMania.
Yes, the Rumble is basically the Rumble is A New Hope.
Star Wars.
The Elimination Chamber is Empire Strikes Back, and then WrestleMania is the third one that I don't like.
Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
Ewoks.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. Endor. Luke gets out.
Return of the Jedi is 1/4 of a good movie. The stuff with Luke and Vader and the Emperor is excellent, and the rest of the film exists.
No, you're not alone.
I prefer Phantom Menace.
Oh, geez whiz, you're just trying to mark that demographic that you're teaching to, I fear. Anyway, so surprise entrant or return pop. What makes a good surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble, and what do people mean when they say return pop?
So a pop is when the audience just cheers en masse. So a return pop is when someone has been gone for a while. comes back without any notice. So two examples from last year in the women's match. So they're currently one of the more interesting tag teams is because. Very brief aside, what they're doing with the women's division right now is great because they've taken a bunch of the more established women and put them all in tag teams to try and rejuvenate the singles pool. I wish they would do that with the men's as well because the men's title picture is really stale. But there's currently a tag team of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. They're very entertaining and their matches are always really fun. Charlotte Flair had a series of video packages before the Rumble last year, and everyone went, oh, okay, well, cool. Charlotte's coming back after a couple of years off. Alexa Bliss had absolutely no hype, no rumors, no videos at all. So when her music hit, everyone went, yes! Everyone popped for it, yeah. And a surprise entrant, because WWE has a working relationship with TNA these days, there's two kinds of real surprise entrants. One is if a legend comes back. So one example is a few years ago, Kevin Nash, who was one of the worst ever drawing WWE champions back in the mid-90s. He'd been gone for a while, and he came back, and not only did he use his old theme song, but he was dressed as his old character Diesel from like the early to mid-90s. So that was a return pop because we were like, yeah, Diesel's back. We like him now because he's old.
Nostalgia.
Nothing sells more tickets in wrestling than nostalgia. And because of the relationship with TNA, they can send TNA wrestlers in. And you know they're not going to win, but it's still good to see them in there. So one example was last year, a TNA wrestler who went viral was Joe Hendry. Again, has a really catchy theme song. Joe Hendry's entire shtick is what if Freddie Mercury, but Scottish and also partially Bugs Bunny.
It's a mashup.
His entire character... He does two things. He writes parody songs about his rivals, and if someone says his name, he will randomly appear in the room.
It's like Candyman.
Yeah. Candyman or what's his name? Candlejack.
Right.
Because his theme song starts with, say his name and he appears. And when that hit at the Rumble last year, the stadium darn near exploded.
Wow.
And Wade Barrett on commentary was going, Joe Hendry, the TNA World Champion. He's an overnight success and it only took him 10 years to get there. And it was just... And then they did an excellent comedy spot where he completely cleans house. He does the clap, clap, stomp from We Will Rock You. And the entire time, Sheamus, the Celtic Warrior, is watching him. And gets a huge ovation. And then Jacob Fatu just comes out and spears him out of nowhere. And then Sheamus turns to Jacob Fatu and goes, I was enjoying that. Why are you so bleeding hungry? It's just very entertaining. The Rumble, above all else... should be entertaining. It does not have to tell it can tell a coherent story. Most of the best Rumbles will tell a coherent story. Conversely, some of the worst Rumbles will tell a coherent story. One Rumble, which is infamous, is the 1999 Royal Rumble, where it was basically they sacrificed what is one of the major pay-per-views just to be another step in the Austin versus McMahon storyline, where it was predetermined that Austin would be number one and McMahon would be number two, and people watching at the time were like, okay, so either Austin wins or McMahon wins. And a few minutes in, Austin chases McMahon through underneath the ropes, chases him into a bathroom, gets jumped by McMahon's henchman, then spends most of the Rumble unconscious after having the snot beaten out of him in a bathroom. And then McMahon goes to the commentary, and he's on the commentary for the rest of the night. And there are periods where no one's in the ring.
It's very meta.
Yeah.
Okay, so when someone's called the Iron Man of Rumbling, Rumble, or Iron Woman, what does that actually signify?
That you were the longest lasting person, that you had the most time in the Rumble of that year.
So you're is there a belt attached to that? Just a phrase, just a title?
It's just a phrase. There's no belts, there's no medal or anything. It's just a little badge of honor. One example is 2001. Kane was in it for the longest period. He eliminated the most people, and he was the last person to be eliminated. So everyone was like, he didn't win. He didn't get the title shot, but he had the best showing in the Rumble if we go by time spent and people eliminated.
All right, how about some fans talk about the Final Four psychology?
Yes.
Right. So what does this mean from a storytelling point of view, the Final Four psychology?
So the most people you would normally see in a in an every man for himself match would be 4 people in a fatal 4-way. You would very rarely see a 6-pack challenge where you have 6 guys all competing against each other, and they're all there's no alliances. But generally speaking, the most you want in a multi-man match is 4 people. And so when you do get down to the final 4 in the Rumble, it's like the final act begins there.
Right.
And if they do it properly, it'll be 2 heels and 2 baby faces, and there'll be alliances. Maybe the alliances will shift, and then you end on 2 guys who will then have an inbuilt story or a rivalry that they're trying to build. And so essentially what you are left with is then a mini match. A really good example was 2 years ago, the 2024 Royal Rumble. The final 4 were Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, who were the 2 favorites to win, and Gunther and Drew McIntyre, who were 2 of the main heels in the company at the time. The baby faces have to team up to beat the heels, and then it's just Punk and Cody left. And so the 2 favorites to win are the last guys in there. And then they proceed to have like a 10 to 15 minute match at the tail end of the Rumble. And it's one of the best parts of the whole thing.
Because you've got a lot of storytelling that can start building up organically. And
it's the only time we've actually seen those 2 in something resembling a singles match, because they haven't gone one-on-one yet. They haven't even properly tagged together outside of a 5-on-5 War Games match. But the real thing is basically people think it's going to be Cody who wins to finish the story, or people think it's going to be CM Punk who wins because he's just come back after 9 years. Who's it going to be? There's a brilliant bit at the end where CM Punk goes, "I didn't come back after 9 years to lose to Dusty's Kid," and then he immediately gets dumped out of the ring by Dusty's Kid and loses. But if we're talking about the Royal Rumble being used to build stories, because oftentimes you can just full-on build rivalries, because the brilliant thing about a 30-person match is that you have people from different shows, because there's 3 shows each week on WWE: Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, plus there's the alliance with TNA. So you've essentially got people who don't work together ever, doing spots together and experimenting with with people who they've never been in programs with before. So you see a lot of different combinations than you would normally see.
So what's your feeling with Royal Rumble? Does it feel like it's going to be a reset, right? Or are they really going to use this more as a conventional bridge into WrestleMania?
The Royal Rumble is never a reset. It is the first step on the pathway to WrestleMania, because you find out who your number 1 contender for the world titles for the men and the women are going to be. Although in saying that, the singles matches that they have can be used either as a bridge or as a reset. For an example of one, let's go back to 2024 one for a second. The title defense there was a fatal 4-way with Roman Reigns, who'd had the title for several years, defending against LA Knight, Randy Orton, and AJ Styles. And we're all watching going, he's not going to lose the belt 3 months before WrestleMania 40. Like, that would be the biggest anticlimax. He is not going to lose the belt. But conversely, the title match they've set for this year's Royal Rumble is Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. Now, if we're talking about obvious booking, the fatal 4-way match to determine the number 1 contender, which happened at Saturday night's main event last weekend, was in Montreal, and Sami Zayn, who is from Quebec, was in the match. Everyone was going. I remember just sitting there going, "What's the point of watching this? We know he's going to win. Yeah. It's in his home turf. We know Sami's going to win. Why are we watching this?" It was still fun. But because they are in Saudi Arabia, and Sami Zayn is Palestinian,
right?
If he manages to dethrone Drew McIntyre, he will get the mother of all pops. And that means that we can have a heel win the Royal Rumble and challenge Sami Zayn at Mania. Conversely, if Drew McIntyre wins the match, well, suddenly he has got nuclear heat and he is far more detestable as a villain, especially if he cheats to do it. And then we can have a babyface win the Rumble to challenge Drew at Mania.
So you've mentioned, of course, that this year's Royal Rumble is in a really unique setting.
Yes.
Kind of historic that the 2026 Royal Rumble is taking place, of course, this coming January the 31st, Saudi Arabia. Right, so and what is it? It's at a custom environment in King Abdullah's financial district, right? So marking the first time the traditional Royal Rumble is outside North America. Is that wow? So looking into it, there seems to have been some fan backlash initially over that announcement, where some fans called for boycotts and expressed disappointment. The event was moving outside of the US. citing cultural and human rights concerns tied to Saudi Arabia's global image. So it presents a great question. What does it mean for WWE's brand and fan base when, one of the big events like Royal Rumble is being held in Saudi Arabia for the first time, particularly because, as we were talking about, women's participation in this space is problematic, right? Female wrestlers initially couldn't appear, and you were saying won't be appearing without some more conservative gear they're required to wear.
Yeah, they'll all be wearing skin-tight bodysuits.
Right, so that's the concession?
Yeah,
right?
made out of spandex or made out of PVC.
So sort of the ones that you see at the Olympics sort of thing?
Sort of. Because they've had some that are very, very plasticky, and I look at them and go, how do you move in that? So yeah, they'll all be covered up from neck to toe.
Wow, and that's dramatic, would you say? That's a dramatic change for wrestling in terms of shifting the gear that the wrestlers performing in to be more conservative.
Yeah.
And it applies both to male and female wrestlers? They're both
only the women.
Right. So the male wrestlers, fine to show a bit of skin. Just the female wrestlers must wear more conservative clothing. That is covered.
Yep.
And that's, again, this really interesting question of the cultural evolution and the business direction WWE's taking.
Well, the business direction is money.
Yeah.
How's this being unpacked? Yeah.
WWE have been rumored to like money. And Saudi Arabia shows, they've definitely come a long way because very famously, the first ever Crown Jewel, I believe, was in 2018. And whoever was bankrolling it, I cannot for the life of me remember who bankrolled it, got in contact with WWE and said, hey, look, we want you to have an event here called Crown Jewel. Really big fan of early 90s wrestling. So if you could have it hosted by The Ultimate Warrior or Yokozuna or Hulk Hogan, that'd be great. And WWE went, brilliant idea. Yokozuna and Ultimate Warrior have been dead for years, so they can't host it.
Wow, that's out of touch.
Yep. It's rare for WWE to be the ones who are on the ball.
But clearly, do you reckon this does indicate a long-term Saudi Arabia partnership? Right, this is long. Do you reckon
they've been doing it for 8 years, and WrestleMania next year is going to be in Saudi Arabia.
Oh, right. So WrestleMania's already lined up. That's a foregone conclusion. Wow.
Yeah.
So what's the debates like? I mean, is there much debate amongst fans around, is this a good thing or not? How does this fit with the priorities? Is this a culture fit?
Fans are pretty unanimous in that it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
To host some of your biggest pay-per-views in a country that has committed as many human rights violations as Saudi Arabia. And,
as we're seeing, even at a kind of performance level requiring changes made to costuming that are dramatic and that are not uniform, that it's only the female wrestlers that have to change to conform to these traditions or cultural expectations. What do you think? Do you think that's going to cause any concerns with the money, the numbers that are watching it? Do you think that'll drive down numbers, or do you think it will actually,
I don't think it will drive down the people who watch it, purely because people will complain about it online, but they'll still watch it because the Royal Rumble was the most successful premium live event of last year. Like, more people watch the Royal Rumble than watch WrestleMania, which is the climax of the whole year. They just love the 30-person battle royale.
Yeah.
And look, I mean, it is interesting. There's so many cultural properties being bought up or co-owned or owned now by various Saudi Arabian conglomerates.
Pokemon Go.
Really?
Yeah.
Is now within the financing.
Owned by Scopely, which is owned by Saudi Arabian government.
I mean, it fascinates me on one level. I'm very convinced by arguments around soft power in terms of, Japan, anime, it boosted tourism to Japan. Suddenly people are talking about career pathways in Japan, talking about how how do we be as creative as Japan? This, though, is still Americana product, right? I mean, Royal Rumble is America and reeks of American odor or fragrance, depending upon your point of view. But it's not like the money that Saudi Arabia is splashing out with Royal Rumble is going to mean, and now we think Saudi Arabia is culturally cool like wrestling too. I mean, the soft power argument in terms of Saudi Arabia will get soft power out of this doesn't seem to be a one-to-one fit. I did notice with Assassin's Creed, the purchasing of EA meant that there was that spin-off, the Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is set in Egypt, right? Which seems to be a bit soft power-like, right? There you're using the cultural property that you've purchased, and now you're putting the game setting in your location in a positive way, right? But it doesn't feel like, there's not the Sheik, right? They're not bringing the Sheik out as one of the wrestlers. Wasn't there, like, during the Gulf War or in the 80s, there was the Sheik wrestler?
Oh, my days. Oh, the Iron Sheik.
The Iron Sheik. They're not dusting him off. Maybe he's going to be the surprise pop nostalgia wrestler, like the Sheik.
He's also dead. I mean,
no family legacy.
Hey, if they wanted to go down that route, they could bring out Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh,
I was literally listening to a review of the 1991 Royal Rumble this morning, where to capitalize on the Gulf War, they brought in Sergeant Slaughter, who had just come back after some time in the AWA, and had uber babyface. Loves America, loves the military, had him turn heel and become an Iraqi sympathizer.
Like he was like a Manchurian candidate? He'd like been brainwashed and
he basically he decided that America had gone soft and people needed to align with Iraqi values.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really kind of Stanley Kubrick out there, or maybe M. Night Shyamalan third act twist, kind of like. And gee whiz!
It actually, the guy who plays Sergeant Slaughter, I believe, is Richard Remus. They actually his family could not go out in public because he was getting death threats.
Yeah,
and McMahon had thought it was going to do really big business, and so he booked like an 80,000 person stadium.
That's such a creative disaster.
Then they had to move to a nearby arena because they weren't feeling it.
So anyway, obviously in terms of storytelling, it's unlikely there'll be a Saudi Arabian storytelling dimension. Where is wrestling big in the Middle East?
Oh, it's pretty big in Saudi Arabia. I mean, every time they go to Saudi Arabia, they're always packed out, and the audiences are always screaming.
Population, it's the local.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, do you have a take on Saudi Arabia's ownership over it? Soft power, or is it just money?
It's just money. That's the just want the cash basically. Or Saudi Arabia is willing to throw money at them, so they're happy to accept it. I will say that, going back to CM Punk for a moment, he was exceptionally critical of the WWE's relationship with Saudi Arabia for the time that he was away from the company. Notoriously sent a
Don't say it.
A tweet which he deleted a couple of minutes later, but everyone had screenshotted it, to Chris Jericho saying, "Go suck a blood money covered blank." And of course, now that Punk's back and he's one of the top guys, he had to deliver a full-on apology to Saudi Arabia.
Oh my!
And he has now headlined.
Really?
He headlined Night of the Champions against Cena last year, which was really King of the Ring. Sorry. And even though that was during
that was held at
Saudi Arabia, and even though Cena was the heel, even though it was the middle of Cena's heel run, CM Punk was there, and the Saudis booed him out of the building.
You're kidding! Wow. So he had to, apologize.
Yep. Apologize for his former statements. And CM Punk's fans, because one of his nicknames is the voice of the voiceless. He's always been an anti-authoritarian rebel.
Because his theme is the
cult of personality.
Living color, and
yeah, his fans were really upset that he capitulated.
Totally.
And I actually just thought to myself, why book him on this show?
Yeah.
Why?
Disaster.
But I think it's partially a PR thing. In that they were like, if we're employing CM Punk, we have to have him make nice to the Saudis. And also because...
a real bending of the knee.
Yeah, and also because there's still a toxic culture within WWE, even now that McMahon is gone. And it's one of the reasons why LA Knight isn't getting the push that his fans want him to get. There's very much an opinion within WWE of, if we didn't make you, we're not going to push you. So if you have someone who's had a really storied career in TNA or in New Japan Pro Wrestling or in AEW, if you come across and you've done really well in other companies, you will probably not do very well in WWE because they will bury you out of spite.
Brutal.
And one of the reasons why AJ, who came from TNA from New Japan, one of the reasons I think why he survived so well is because he basically left TNA because he wasn't being treated well. They asked him to take a 60% pay cut at one point. Yeah. And it's... So yeah, the culture is definitely better than it was. I mean, there's no longer a sex trafficking ring that we know of now that McMahon is gone.
Progression.
But they also brought back Brock Lesnar, who was absolutely part of that ring, which is just it's difficult. It's difficult being a wrestling fan sometimes because...
And the political climate at the moment. The Trump's in power, right-wing Republican vibe. The crossover with WWE is strong.
Yeah, and because Linda McMahon, who is Triple H's mother-in-law, I believe she's on the education cabinet for Trump.
Yeah.
And so they always have to make nice with Trump.
Yeah, yeah. It's not a voice of kind of a resistance narrative emerging. And this is what makes WWE so fascinating.
Yeah.
That it really reflects the cultural environment that it's occurring in. And within it, the wonderfully postmodern kind of, you got a kayfabe performance level, but then you have the reality sometimes intruding in. And the Saudi Arabian show, shows that in cards, that kind of the real world politics that are breaking out. We've got 10 minutes left to change tact slightly to bring it back to Royal Rumble. Top 3 realistic winners.
Top 3
Can
realistic.
I put you in on the spot.
Hornswoggle.
Hornswoggle. If Hornswoggle comes back, we stand.
For those who don't know, like me, what's Hornswoggle? Who is Hornswoggle? What's the story there?
He's a leprechaun.
Yeah, he's a leprechaun.
Yeah, okay, the fictional fairy tale.
He's the size of a leprechaun.
He's a little person who dressed up as a leprechaun.
Yeah.
The guy
is
who
he
played...
on the ticket?
No. If he comes back, we'll get a pop. He actually, the guy who played Hornswoggle, I don't know his real name, but he had some very strong words for Peter Dinklage around the time of Snow White, when Peter Dinklage's comments got the 7 dwarves changed from being, little people to being guys in CGI, and Hornswoggle was like, bro, you've taken 7 jobs away.
Really? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, hey, if Peter Dinklage ever stepped in the ring, Peter Dinklage versus Hornswoggle, that could main event SummerSlam.
Realistic then.
I'll tell you,
realistic winners.
I'll tell you who's not going to win.
Okay.
Raquel Rodriguez is not going to win the Women's Rumble because she has a title match scheduled for Monday.
Okay, right. Yeah. So some real world scheduling issues. Because why would that be impossible? Why wouldn't that work?
Because, I mean, if she wins the Rumble... I actually thought she was going to win the Rumble previously, but if she wins the Rumble and then wins the title the following Monday...
She's got 2 titles.
Yeah.
She's got a title and a title match. It's like, okay, cool. The favorite to win online right now is Liv Morgan. She's just come back after some time off from injury, and if you come back from injury, that bolsters your chance of winning the Rumble enormously. And
is this just so you can have a strong storyline coming back?
Yeah, strong redemption storyline. Right. And the Judgment Day have basically been making a big deal about they're a cult, not a cult. they were a cult for a while, but not anymore. The Judgment Day are they're a stable of gothic punk heels. And they've been making a lot of murmurs about getting the gold back. Wow. So I'm like, okay, cool. I Liv is the favorite to win online. People, given how Charlotte Flair winning last year was received, if she wins again, WWE doesn't know their audience.
Because she came back, right, from injury. Yes. And the sense was it was an undeserved win.
People didn't... This is how fickle fans are. If you come back from injury, it's great if you win the Rumble, unless you're Charlotte Flair, because then you're getting accelerated back into the title picture too quickly.
Nepotism?
Yeah, she's the daughter of Ric Flair, who is one of Triple H's best friends.
Right.
So She's a very good wrestler and a very good entertainer as well. But the nepotism people love to bitch and moan about. Sorry.
That's right. There was someone that was more deserving, do you think? Or I guess in terms of where we're heading towards for this one, where we are with the three realistic winners.
I reckon Liv is Online's favorite. I would probably put her reasonably close to the top. I think that they're probably not going to go for another repeat winner. So if someone's won it previously, I don't reckon.
Right.
There's a lot of talk that Bianca Belair might come back and she might win the Rumble. People would like to see her against Jade Cargill, who's the current women's champ.
Does the women's wrestling this year for the Rumble seem more unpredictable? I mean, it seems there's quite a few possibilities. Is it more unpredictable than the men's?
I think it's more unpredictable just because most of the women at the top of the card are more invested in the tag division than they are in the singles division. I think it is more unpredictable in that sense. I think that someone from the Judgment Day will win. So either Liv or Roxanne. It's not going to be Raquel because she has that match the following week. But yeah, because of the way they have been booking the higher stature women, I think it is more unpredictable.
Is there anyone you think that really needs the win? Right? Someone that's like...
In the men's Rumble, someone who needs and people have been talking about this for a while now. I think Bron Breakker would really benefit from the win. He's been around for a couple of years now.
Would that be a surprise, though?
It wouldn't be a surprise. He's not, because his stable, the Vision, have all talked about helping him win. And I mean, if he wins the belt, then not the belt, the Rumble, then he can, because we currently have a babyface champ and a heel champ. It's the way that things should be if you have two world titles. And he's already had one match against Punk that he lost. So if he wins the Rumble, well, the obvious thing is a rematch against Punk at Mania. Cody Rhodes has been saying he wants to win his third Royal Rumble. I don't think that would be a good idea because we do not want Cody to reach Super Cena levels. We want people to like Cody. It had taken something in the ballpark of 20 years for WWE to find a top guy who everyone liked and didn't boo as soon as they step in the ring.
Okay.
So please keep people liking Cody. Who else could win? Look, people want LA Knight to win. I don't think he will. I would like to see him win the Elimination Chamber, or him or Cody win the Elimination Chamber. But I don't.
It sounds like he's getting frozen out.
It sounds like he's getting cooled off enormously. Yeah. Like 6 or 7 months ago, 6, 7, I would have said that LA Knight would be the favorite to win.
I like it.
Yeah, but
we should have a sound effect.
Because the war against the Vision, who were the top heel stable last year, LA Knight was initially one of the main guys fighting them, and then he's just been jobbed out to them over and over and over again. So he no longer looks like a viable contender.
Okay. All right, so we've kind of pinned you down. We'll see what maps out on because it's first thing in the morning here, right? If you want to watch it, it's a 6 a.m. So over breakfast, and that of course it means in Saudi Arabia time. It's I assume in the evening sometime.
Presumably. Normally the shows are around sort of 7, 8 o'clock at night.
I did like one of my last questions is if you could book one shocking return or debut, who would it be? I like the Leprechaun.
Yeah,
as the shocking. Is there a shocking return or debut?
A lot of people think that Chris Jericho is going to come back because I believe he's no longer in contract with AEW, and WWE recently put a trademark on his theme song.
Oh, wow.
So everyone's expecting...
So yeah, they're picking up some of that industry goss.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a trademark out. Right.
So he's the favorite to be a surprise return. Who would I pick as a surprise return? Ooh, that's a question.
What's the name of that leprechaun again?
Hornswoggle.
Hornswoggle. I'm going to Google that when I get back.
There's been some talk, and these are very baseless internet rumors, that we'll see The Undertaker or Stone Cold come back. They will not come back.
Holy cow.
Because it's Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia is big on the nostalgia. Because
Saudi Arabia is big on nostalgia?
Yeah, the main event of the first event in Saudi Arabia, Crown Jewel, the main event was... D-Generation X, so Shawn Michaels and his bestie Triple H versus the Brothers of Destruction, Undertaker and Kane. Now, that would have been an excellent match in 1998.
But
in 2018, They were all so far over the hill.
But it was huge nostalgia with
Yeah.
tons of
Yeah.
money behind it, right?
Yeah, and Shawn Michaels had retired 8 years previously to be a dad, and he basically went, "This is not me coming out of retirement. This is putting the band back together for one payday, show." And he didn't come back after that, but it's considered to be one of the all-time worst matches.
Oh my god! But they all live to tell the tale, right? There's no lasting
Yeah.
injuries. Hopefully, that.
I mean, Triple H tore his pec in the first few minutes.
Jesus.
There's this one brilliant spot where Shawn is visibly annoyed and he yells at Kane, "Come on, Glenn!" Like using his real name in the ring.
So there is history, of course, of Saudi Arabia splashing out to get big name nostalgia.
Yeah. Oh gosh, who would I like to see come back as a surprise? I want the Honky Tonk Man to come back.
Honky Tonk Man. I'm going to go for the Sheik, the Iron Sheik
Yeah.
still. I think that would be crazy. Honky Tonk Man. What was Honky Tonk Man's thing?
Elvis impersonator.
It was what?
He was an Elvis impersonator.
Elvis impersonator.
Yeah, he was the
That's
longest,
so worth it.
the longest running intercontinental champion for decades until
Really?
until Gunther broke his record. Yeah.
When did he peak? When was Honky Tonk Man performing? What era are we talking?
The rock and wrestling era. So he
Really?
won
Rock and wrestling.
He won the belt in 1987.
my God.
And he held it until SummerSlam the following year. And when he loses it at SummerSlam, it's brilliant because he'd spent well over 400 days winning by deliberate count-out, disqualification, cheating.
He was a heel.
Absolute mega heel. And his intended opponent didn't show up, and he jumps on the mic and goes, "Get me another challenger. I don't care who it is." And then the Ultimate Warrior's music hits. The Ultimate Honky Tonk freaks out. The Warrior sprints to the ring, and he squashes Honky Tonk Man in 30 seconds flat.
And he full-on Elvis impersonator costuming.
Yes, he uses guitars as weapons.
Of course.
And part of his gimmick is that he acts like he was the real genius and Elvis stole his shtick.
Oh no, it's such a shame. I mean, we're at time, but I do have these vague memories of like a video game or something that was rock and roll wrestling or something, or rock.
Yeah.
So I'd love to understand that because it's different from WWF, right? Is it, or it's anyway? That's probably
That's Wildlife
huge.
Fund.
All right, that's wildlife. Sorry, Marcus, we're
All good.
I've been told off before. Last week's show or 2 weeks' show went over time, and so that's Media Mothership for another week. Royal Rumble's on this Sunday at 6 a.m. in Australian Eastern Standard Time. Marcus has given us the clips. If you're interested about seeing how Saudi Arabia might position themselves in it, I think it's a fascinating cultural and historical moment. Any other final words, things to look out for in this event?
If Cena returns, we riot.
Yeah.
All right, let's play some music.
You're listening to Edge Radio 99.3 FM.